but when you have the Aphelios, you need something that enables them. Even the fact you have the Lulu doesn't really do too much. So I think here BLG are kind of already giving themselves towards a dive-orientated composition. So I really like this from Miky. It's the second time we've seen it from him, and I thought it looked great last time. We'll have to see if he can do it again.
What direction does the rest of this draft play out for? Because I think we were anticipating the Ahri in game number 1. We thought it was a good Ahri angle. Ended up being the Sylas. Sylas worked out well. I think some of those hijack barrels and Nature's Grasp in particular really unlocked Yagao's performance in the middle lane. And the next big question is, what will Caps' answer be into Yagao's Ahri? We've seen the Tristan and the Jace banned away once again, so 0 pivots from the ban pool on the side of BLG. It was Na and Fiora, the last 2 bans for G2. This time they're going to pivot to the Gwen, something we have seen Ben play several times, as well as his signature Fiora.
Might be expecting BLG to pick a jungler here, and then they pick up the Ksante. Gwen in particular has a really good matchup. We also know that Bin is great at the champion. So wouldn't be surprised, and yeah, with the Wukong, looks like they had the right idea.
Yeah, I think this is BB maybe looking towards something like a Sion pick as well. The Gwen does really well into the same with the Fiora, so it definitely feels like they want to go back towards a more tank-orientated top side anyway, and just making sure that Bin can't have a lot of his comfort picks, but he's going to be Shun getting his hands on towards the Sejuani. So again, I think just good opportunity to try and close fights, make sure that you're able to get this Aphelios in. It does mean that you won't have as much dive threat alongside the Ahri, but I still think it'll work well.
I actually like the Sejuani because they were hovering Wukong, and I think Wukong into Janna is actually like that is really rough. And with the Sejuani at the very least, you are going to be able to throw out non-committal engage. If it doesn't work out, that's fine, but the follow-up can still be there with the Ahri and possibly with whatever they lock in as. It is indeed the Ksante, but who does it go to?
I'm really curious to see what the response is from Bin, because when you look at the ability here for G2 to try and play Kite back and buy space for Hans Sama, this could be an angle where he goes back towards the Camille. Just offers himself that, hey, I want to lock you down immediately. You have good answers, but Malphite also does a very similar thing, which is just like, hey, I want to just lock up this Jinx and make sure that we're able to play as well as possible around it.
And taking a look at these 2 picks, once the Ksante was locked in, I had the same thought that you did, Cronicler. 1 game for Caps this year on the champion, 3 for Broken Blade on the Ksante. With Syndra locked in, this will actually be the first time that we have seen Caps play Syndra all year long. And the final lock-in for Bin is going to be the Jax. Okay, let's zoom out. I'm hearing please, please, please. What do you think of the compositions and how they're going to match up?
So I was saying please, please, please for the Camille, because Bin is, like, his solo queue ID is I love Camille. He is insane in that champion, but has been insane in the Jax all split long as well. So excited to see him again kind of going back towards these carry routes and saying, look, eventually I'm going to get to a stage where I can just win it against Ksante in a side lane and put pressure down. G2 kind of going back more towards what we saw from JDG yesterday, where Knight was insane at acting as this other PL operations with the Scout of the Weeks to keep the ruler safe. And now we're getting a very similar story here with the Jinx to try and keep this Jinx alive.
And I think that BLG basically see the composition from do say, we're not looking to 5v5, right? This is all in on, you could go 1-4, you can go 1-3-1, depending on how the mid lane matchups plays out. And G2 definitely took what happened in game 1 to heart, because this is as big of a Hans Sama 1v9 comp as you can do. I'm thinking back to the game that Knight had in particular.
Doesn't get rolling, you're then under a lot of threat where BLG can find opportunities to play sides.
London, do you believe in G2 Esports? If you do, make some noise. And for everyone listening and watching at home, do you want to know the last time that Caps played Syndra? 2022 spring against Astralis. It has been that long. Now the reason I call that out, and the reason I think it is important, when we see the Yasuo being pulled out for the first time at MSI, and we look at a player like Caps who has been struggling, he made a name on the international stage playing Yasuo, albeit not at the 29 MSI that he won. He actually didn't play it at all, but every other event he did so. And I think on a champion like Syndra, which is one of those champions that he has demonstrated great ability in the past, he's going to be asked to help out today. Summoner Heal used for both On as well as Miky. And the level 1 trades going back and forth with that Howling Gale slowing down just a little bit. So my eye's going to be on Caps. What can he do with Scout of the Week? What can he do with that high skill button on the R to find one of the squishier targets? But I think more importantly, the zone control. Get the orbs down.
Oh, wait.
Multi-man stun. The recall, not available there. Elk dropped to 200 hit points. Rockets being fired. Hansama's 400 HP. Elk will sidestep the Gale. Now the turnaround. Mickey forced a flash. G2 start the fight. BLG end it.
I want to know what the pathing's going to be here for Yike, though. You can see he's already on his bot side. I think he's going to go into Krugs and immediately look for the level 3 gank on bot lane. Not having those flashes burned onto BLG are a little bit annoying, though, because he would love as Yike to be able to punish that. But still, G2 getting some decent trades and should get good control over the bot side as a result.
Same for Shun. He's starting on the top half of the map. If I see support this early on without a flash, you're looking to path towards that bot side, particularly with how important bot lane has been. So a lot of pressure here on both of these two bot lanes to try and get something going early. We do see, knowing that Yike is still in the area, G2 trying very heavily to get the shove in here and make sure the wave resets so they're not in the position to get ganked once Shun comes towards the bot side of the map.
But even look at the vision control that's on this bottom side already. Both brushes warded by BLG. They know that there's an opportunity for G2 to try and make a play around this bot side. And it looks like Yike, instead of actually trying to play for the lane advantage, is just going to play for his own. Move in here, you got the push on bot side. Let's move in and try and steal away some of these camps from Shun. Make sure he can't play to his own bot lane.
I love that call out, Dagda. You saw the movement from Hansama and Mickey. After they pushed under the tower, immediately moving up. The zap comes out there from Hansama. A little bit of a assistance onto Yike. Got that smite available. We'll be able to secure this Sentinel in just a second. Holds on to it, in fact. And we'll even get vision here of Shun thanks to that sapling toss. While that's going on, keep your eyes on the minimap. Top lane, Bin under pressure, chased too far, forced a flash, and Broken Blade's been spamming the take notes all tournament long. We've had a couple of good emotes already. Scout of the week finds the stun. Bramble smash backwards to the sapling toss. Will not have enough damage. The tick, 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 and Yagao escapes with his life.
Just barely able to escape away from that. Also the fact G2 dodging the charm that came out from Yagao as well means that they don't get caught underneath the tower, because you can see how low Caps was. A couple more tower shots would not have been a pleasant experience for him, but G2, they're coming alive in this early game.
And another moment we see Yike playing a little bit around Caps, at least in terms of his first move. It's 4 minutes in, so I don't want to overblow this. But I do think Cronicler, you mentioned it in the previous game, looking at the Yasuo, looking at where Yike's pathing and decision-making is, as Mickey's in trouble, take it out! That's a solo kill in the bottom lane! Unable to punish the flashless Janna. Flame Chompers come down, Shun waiting in the wing, teleports out. Gravitim, not going to find the route just yet, but the TP will be channeled, and Caps is going to drop to that bottom lane.
Yeah, and a good teleport from Caps, but if you're BLG, you're extremely happy. You just got a free kill, right? Being able to deny more farm here to Hansama, who can't really walk up to the wave. On and Elk should be able to zone him out easily here.
Oh, this is scary, this is scary. The Glitterlance connects, it forces out the cleanse. Look at the minimap. Yike and Caps, rather, making their way forward, both level 4. While that is going on, Wave is being caught by Yagao in that middle lane.
But this is a mess for Caps going in. Elk forced the cleanse and flashes away, but this is a mess here for G2, because you need this wave to crash so then you can actually try and achieve something. Yagao needs to roam out of mid, but he's frozen the wave in itself.
Shun's nearby. This is a 4 versus 3, but Hansama is so incredibly low. Howling Gale won't find its target. Dark Sphere, followed up by the root. Mickey's tanking the shots, and G2 get a kill. Now Yagao is joining. Level 5, doesn't have Spirit Rush available yet. Elk, blue and purple. He's caught by the Howling Gale. That should slow down any follow-up. And G2 escape. They pull up the dive, they get the kill, and they get out.
On spamming emotes as he's getting killed is definitely a mood. Love that. Very not afraid of what is happening. Big there, as you pointed out, is that Caps is so far ahead of Yagao here, and with the sapling as well, no opportunity. If Yagao has Spirit Rush, then maybe they can look for something on the back. So G2 take a awkward position, which is a Hansama who is desperately trying to get in a wave, and Elk and On playing very for forward, trying to get him away and turn it around.
I mean, it does show that G2 are well aware that, look, we need to protect the Hansama, because if the wave doesn't crash, you're in very dire straits. As well, the fact that Caps had to roam down to the bot lane does actually put him behind in the level advantage. See, he only just ticked over to level 5, whereas Yagao has hit the level 6. So if Yagao actually has a moment to roam, especially with Shun down back on this bot lane, they could be in trouble. Slow wave pushing into Hansama and MikyX, though, should leave them relatively safe for the moment.
And most importantly, by the end of it, Elk didn't really miss a whole lot, and he is still stacking his coal. Again, being able to just...
15 CS up as well.
Wait and cash in.
It's also hilarious to me that still Yike hasn't taken his blue buff. He's just not been able to go to that top side. He took the blue on the opposite side, immediately went to Wolves, back to his Raptors, and down at his bot lane. And BLG now know with these camps respawning, want to try and interrupt this Caps. doesn't realize how close he is to BLG.
What we saw as well is with that gigantic wave crashing into the bottom tower, as Hansama and Mickey tried to pick that one up, Yagao as well as Shun were in the jungle. If there was a possibility to dive, they were there, they were immediately able to react, and technically Caps was a little bit off the pace. Instead, they started the Dragon and they've peeled away. But please keep your eyes on those CS advantages. Plus 20 for Elk. He's got the pickaxe. He's already 50 CS towards finishing off the Cole. And now, once the backup is there, once the tower, the wave is starting to thin out, BLG, they will start this Dragon stacking. The first of the game, a little bit of a pivot from the previous one. Ward will spot out here from Mickey and Hansama. Howling Gale Steel would be insane. I just don't think it's going to happen. And while that's happening, keep your eyes on Yike. He's making his way towards the top lane.
But there's not really much you can trade it for. Sure, you might get a couple of extra camps for Yike, but in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't mean much. Maybe you get the kill into Bin here.
Well, time to go all out. Broken Blade using the into 4. That's an advance over the wall. Forces the flash once again. Reminder, Bin lost that in the 1v1. Sapling toss out. Counter-Strike finds the stun. Leap to the minions. Yike's only level 5. There's no support from the rest of BLG, but he survives and outplays the 1v2.
The support's on the way, though. Yagao moving up here. Shun on his Raptors. G2 know they need to get the hell out of here. Broken Blade going to move back towards his turret.
Cue the Jaws music. Dun, 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 dun. Yagao not going to step close enough for the charm to connect, and this time round, BLG, they are unable to turn that round.
And unfortunately, it's a little bit of a deja vu for G2, right? As they try to get Bin, take him out. The win, you get a flash, and most importantly, you make sure that Bin is playing on the back foot up until that cooldown comes up. But the unfortunate reality of this matchup is that if we get far enough, that Jax is going to win the 1v1 and be able to get it going, and they didn't actually end up denying him CS or getting him killed.
But that's the thing. It's like, even if you get the... Oh, hang on.
Oh, beautifully done! BLG combo in the middle lane. With the Soraka, it's okay emote. The prison into the charm. That was just exquisite.
Caps barely even had a chance. I mean, immediately that comes over the wall, and I get what Caps is doing, right? Lean over to that opposite side because he just saw Yagao move down towards the bottom lane, but it just ends up setting up beautifully then for Shun to come in on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's the moment that happens and Caps buys Merc Threats. You're like, oh, yeah. Gotta need those against the opposing team with the amount of CC that they have available. G2, though, trying to answer back, and I think, given the base timings of BLG, they should be able to.
And they desperately need this. Top lane is fairly even, but mid is heavily in favor of Yagao. Bot lane is heavily in favor of Elk. And the fact that G2 haven't been able to keep control over this bot side and have allowed BLG to get entrance, get vision, get Elk shoved, needs to stop. Otherwise, G2 are just slowly but surely going to bleed out as they get towards these later fights. So this Rift Herald needs to get into the hands of Hansama and make sure that they can write some of this gold into the hands of the AD carry.
And frankly, take this with a pinch of salt, but I'm disappointed in these teams. By 10 minutes in game 1, we had nearly 15 kills. The pace has slowed down dramatically. The crucial thing about that pace slowing down dramatically is that G2 don't have as much gold in their
Is there a
hands.
part of you that looks at Janna and goes, yeah, we're going to get bloody and a ton of kills?
Listen,
I don't know anyone who says that.
On Lulu, killed a Janna in a 1v2 solo. So that's what I was hoping for.
I don't know what you're talking about, QuickShot. I think this is a perfectly fine pace. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, definitely not biased from
We
your
get
own
to talk to
regional
each
casting.
other. We get to have some time together.
But Cronicler, I think the time together is spent watching G2 get suffocated around the map.
Yeah.
The bottom lane falling in favor of BLG. The red buff is stolen away here. Wave starting to be set up. And look, Yagao's already on the roam. So there's a potential dive already being generated. TP is available for both Caps and Broken Blade, but Broken Blade is being pushed in by Bin. So 3v3 for now will become a 3v4 shortly, Chronicler.
Oh, we do see Caps also moving over. Do note, Shun has his ultimate available. It looks like they're going to give it up, and I do think that if everyone is actually here, particularly into Janna, Mickey just hit 6. Don't think you can go for this dive, and it looks like BLG agrees.
Monsoon available is going to be a huge tool to buy some time, but it's a 2,000 gold lead at 11 minutes.
But you don't need to go for the dive.
No.
You're getting the plates. You're getting what you want here as BLG. Like, and all you're really doing is forcing Hansama to play far back, so Elk, who doesn't have that range advantage, can actually push up and start to take these. Now Shun is still here. Yike has disappeared, and Mickey's very close to that wall.
Oh, Mickey! Caught by the prison! Forced to flash! Manages to Monsoon and buys enough time to stay alive. Yagao's on the roam already. Caps yet to follow, but Yike is in the route. All right, so 2 plates remaining. Cole has also got 3 minions left to proc, so Elk will be able to get that giant infusion of gold. And look at this threat, look at this pressure. BLG are relentless in the bottom tower.
What's important as well is that Wildcaps this time around is earlier. Last time he was behind Yagao. Yagao is continuously shoving in and then moving. And Caps first is to catch the wave, then move. But that also means that every time he goes for that, he will be losing health on his turret as the charm does hit.
Beautiful charm. Again, denying some CS, just putting that chip damage. It means even if Caps goes for a move, he's low on HP. He's been bullied by Yagao's Ahri.
But it's also the fact that G2 are constantly falling behind as they're trying to defend these plays. So Caps had to TP down bot. That already set him behind when it came to the experience. Now he's struggling to push the wave against Yagao as a result of that, right? But you're also looking at Yike. Yike is spending a ton of time on this bot side, but Shun has already taken his camps. So there's little excuse for Yike to be here apart from I need to save Hansama, but Shun gets to go back to his own jungle, continue to farm up, and it's these little advantages that BLG are starting to accrue further and further and making it incredibly difficult now for G2 to contest the setup that BLG have on this Dragon.
And more importantly as well, Gale Force secured as well. So cue the jingle, 12 minutes in. Alk has already got himself that Mythic. The rest of the members on the Rift still trying to build up towards it. But no towers have fallen at 12.5 minutes. That 2,000 gold lead is pretty heavily concentrated into Yagao and Alk's hands. And Yike, once again, trying to spend a little bit of time top. It is still even between Bin and Broken Blade.
Bin!
What's going to happen here? Bin teleports in. 4 members of G2 are around. He's rooted in place, locked up, held down, buying time, finds the stun. Broken Blade forced to tank it out. Nature's Grasp comes down. Here comes Yagao. That gets the flash out of Broken Blade. G2 Esports get a kill. It goes to Hansama as well. And now they're going to try and apply more pressure on the tower. Caps, can he find the stun?
Oh,
He
Caps hits!
finds it, unleashes the power. Where's the rest of the members? That goes golden. Yagao using the stopwatch. Flame Choppers will not connect. On has arrived to the fight as well. Mickey's going low thanks to the glitter lance, and Shun is making his way top as well. 4 members of G2 chasing. The weak are scattered, and Yagao's wild growth manages to keep him alive. G2 on full retreat now. Tower still the pokers. Multiple plates have fallen. Shun will get a kill back onto Caps. Flashes forward. Shun now looking for Hansama with the Arctic Assault. He's slowed by the glitter lance. Cleanse comes out once more, and Hansama still running for his damned life. Will be taken down by On. 2-1-2 and some Portal combat reigns supreme.
And G2, that initial dive, a big mistake from Bin, right? A misread from BLG. He teleports back. Getting him was good, but Elk got 2 full turrets. He just got bottom mid lane by himself, and the overall play on top side.
Oh my god, it's a 3,000 gold lead.
The play on top side didn't even end up working out.
It's a little doomed, folks.
Dagda, I appreciate your earnestness. 4,000 gold. No, 5,000 gold to lead. I'm actually really glad, Cronicler, you pointed that out. I wasn't even looking at the minimap in the skirmish.
I didn't want to.
Alk picking up both towers. He's got 3,000 gold more than Hansama. He's nearly towards the Infinity Edge. It's phenomenal. Keep your eyes on the minimap infrequently throughout this replay.
So this is a great play, right? G2, they're able to get a kill on Bin, putting him behind, give the gold over to Hansama. Loving it, but I think that they're also recognizing, and Yagao unable to get anything done here, they're recognizing that they already lost the second dragon, and they're about to lose the turret. So they're like, we gotta try something, right? We gotta get anything going, but look at this. They're going for this dive while the wave isn't there. So your biggest damage dealer, Hansama, isn't there. Cap's already used a lot of his burst, and as a result, as soon as On arrives, it just goes from bad to worse. At the moment that Shun arrives, you know this play is doomed.
On also just does a really good job of baiting G2 the entire time. He held at that wall growth for so long and just buys enough time then for Shun to come up here. And Hansama, even with the flash away, he still goes down. Great turnaround from BLG, and I mean, as you say, look at the minimap. Bot lane tower went, and then Elk was like, oh cool, yous are all down top. I just guess I'll take mid as well.
I'll be brutally honest with you, on a very personal level, I am very sad to see this happening. But as a lover of League of Legends, what BLG are doing is gorgeous. They are being sucked into the chaos that G2 are proposing and saying, mates, we invented this, come on, man, and taking them down.
But it also is kind of like BLG going back to their style, right? When you think of what BLG did domestically, it was, hey, look, Elk is going to be our major carry for the later game fights. We're going to have Bin on a carry. Yagao, cool. You just play for facilitation. Play things like the Ahri, who was a Veigar, the Gallios, that kind of stuff. So for BLG, this is where they thrive. This is where they were able to push themselves right the way up from 5th place to finals and find their way to MSI for the first time in the organization's history.
more importantly, it's starting to feel like this series, like so many that we've seen this MSI, goes into game number 1, it's mayhem, right? Like, both teams are really trying to scrap, really trying to get a feel, continuously handshaking every single play. And then in the second game, the team that won game 1 is like, I'm just going to play it a little bit slower, a little bit standard, and focus on the fundamentals. And then without the opportunity to try and match when it comes to fighting, it just completely falls apart for the opposing team.
And I mean, you're running out of second chances here as G2. The loser of this series will be going home. And for G2, this isn't the start that you want coming into game 2, especially when you at least tried to put this Janna into the bot side, try and play around Hansama, but BLG just do it better.
I completely agree with everything you just said. And looking at the itemization, by the way, Infinity Edge now picked up for
Oh, no.
So this is going to make it more difficult. I will say there has been one shining light. The Barons have been problematic for every region, Cronicler, every region here at MSI.
But G2
we had a
was the
discussion.
best up last game.
Oh, no, it was. But if BLG do start playing on these objectives, let's not forget the fact, getting excited, scatter the weak, the Moakai ultimate, there are a lot of tools. I do need to look for silver linings here because it will be incredibly difficult for G2 to pull back the deficit. But BLG have not had the cleanest of games. We saw it in the previous. That damage, however, is gigantic. Gale Force IE. And 17 minutes on the clock, multiple members of BLG pushing the mid lane. Teleport available for Yagao. Top as he shoved that way forward.
And I think if BLG gets Soul Point here, at that point, you never have to go to Baron. You don't have to go to Drake for the next 15 minutes. And every single time you can threaten either of those and just have bin split push, right? I think that if BLG never takes a 5v5 here, there is almost zero way for G2 to come back, barring catch left or right. Yagao.
Okay, now Yagao was caught up, but look at the minimap. I mean, Caps and Mickey are so far away. To be fair, it wasn't the most, the largest investment from Yike. Super Mega Death Rocket went just a little wide. G2 Esports will pick up their first tower of the game. They will get themselves the objective bounty as well. The third dragon was secured by BLG. So now what we really want to see, I think we really want to see patience and control from BLG. Utilize that Jax in the side lane. You've got so much damage from the rest of the comp as well as like peel options as well. So play it safe and allow Bin to just do Bin things.
So Dagda, how you... Oh, hold up.
Well, let's find out. Yeah, that's an engage following onto Yagao. Caps has still got the ult available. Teleport's completed. Bin and Broken Blade arriving. 4 members of BLG are surrounding G2. Broken Blade's going low. He's still got all out and may not get a chance to use it. Forces the kill back. And Yike now flashes to safety. Howling Gale comes up. Monsoon is available. Mickey may need to pull a trigger so incredibly soon. Glettalon falls just short. Zap tags on to Elk and he flashes forward through it. Bin finds another and BLG string together 3 kills as G2 run for their lives.
And if this is not a commentary on the state of this game, then I don't know what is. BLG's like, what if we just force a full-on skirmish? What if we just hard 5v5? And when you're Aphelios, who is an item up, isn't even needed to win. It's not looking good.
And Elk literally just ran Hansama and Mickey around the map. They're like, I can 1v2. This is fine.
There.
And now you get the Rift Herald into the base.
Well, base is now broken open. Baron spawns in 20 seconds. And I hate to say it, London, but you're sounding like a library here as BLG are pushing G2 to the brink. 7,000 gold the lead. 3 minutes to the soul. And it's BLG in dominant fashion. I was looking for the patience and control. Frankly, they just forced the skirmish. Well, I'm still impressed.
Yeah, I was actually, as that play kicked off, I was about to ask Dagda, so how do you feel about the odds that BLG is going to play this? Slow and calculated, and I haven't gotten the answer to the question. Or Yagao literally goes in on the Ahri, and I think given the state of the game, they can, right? Incredible amount of gold leads, and you see, as you point out, that BLG throughout the entirety of this is a man up.
And the thing is, look at Elk. He's just chasing Hansama and Mickey through the jungle, and then Hansama and Mickey literally get here to go like, oh cool, I'll throw in an auto and chompers, and okay, no, we're getting on out of here.
I mean, even Mickey's tornado just got flashed over by Shun. It's like, no, we can keep going. I'm down. Let's fight. They know Elk was on the flank, which for an Aphelios is not a position that we see him in often.
There's not a huge amount left for G2 now, and again, it kind of feels like G2 are still trying to figure out the style they want to play against BLG. We saw this Gragas Yasuo combo in game number 1. Now G2 trying to go a bit more standard for what we see in the meta at the moment, but that's not really working out for them. So for G2, what do they do after this? Because BLG aren't going to stop.
The kills used, Nature's Grasp dropped as well. Shun's thrown out the prison, but remember, this is just to keep members of G2 alive. Scout of the weak forward captures the target, manages to escape for another. Here comes Bin. Caps flashes over the wall. Moonlight Vigil doesn't find anybody. The Howling Gale catches out. He used his flash earlier, and G2 find the kill. They find the shutdown. They find life in London. That's another secured onto one. The third onto Yagao. And in the middle of the rift, Shun starts the fight, but G2 end it!
Jomong Madness is still alive and well here in London, and G2 collapse onto BLG AD carry, and now Shun and Bin, they're still around though.
They are indeed. There's no blast cone available. 2 members versus 5. This Baron's taking time. Sapling is going to spot out Shun for now. He can Arctic Assault over the wall, but he won't. The Baron secured. It is not where I thought the game could be thrown, or at least a lifeline given to G2 Esports.
And we're going to go into replay. I want you to take note of what Elk is about to, well, what is about to happen here, right? Because Bin gets the flank, you get the flash, you have control of the river, you're fine. Your ult misses, and he kill forces into a Janna tornado. Immediately gets taken down. Broken Blade is more than ready for that. And without Elk there, and with a Jinx that starts resetting in a fight that is completely split up, G2 smell a big moment of weakness and are able to turn that into multiple kills as well as a Baron.
Please keep in mind, that is a neutralizing force. G2 Esports need to use these Baron empowered minions to buy time, to pick up farm. There is still a significant disparity. There is also 20 seconds before the Dragon's Soul, and Broken Blade is the target. Shun has already used his ult. Yagao finds the charm, may need to Spirit Rush over the wall, and does so. Shun is jumped on. Hans Summers looking for another kill. He secures it and finds the shutdown. Copperbox goes mad as Yagao's now on the retreat. 4 members of BLG stepping away. The Mega Death Rocket will not find its target, and this is the first Dragon for G2. That gigantic lead has been squashed.
G2 have found the life that they needed. Again, picking off Shun, who'd overextended. It looked like BLG were kind of caught with their pants down. They were trying to get vision, but completely mishandle it. Now, there's a ton of standing gold on the map that G2 can try and pick up.
I think what's really important here as well is that, as mentioned, BLG, with the composition that they have, should struggle against G2 when it comes to 5v5 team fights. But because of how the early game snowballed, it didn't really matter. But now, with the gold lead on parity as it is, BLG is actually going to have to be able to leverage their superior side lanes if they want to get a sure-footed victory here.
One thing to call out as well is just moments ago, Elk was able to pick up that Lord Dominic's regards. So he still has the 2,000 gold lead. The difference between teams is concentrated in that one item. So for the rest of G2, the fact that Broken Blade's been able to pick up a couple of kills is very good. They are applying pressure. They are diving real deep here. Nature's Grass was thrown out. BLG, do they find the flank? Literally as soon as that Nature's Grass came down, Cronicler and Dagda attacked the screen. They're coming, they're coming. There's enough distance this time around. So everybody take a breath. Let's reset. And the first 20 minutes of this game no longer matter. We are now in a, relatively speaking, even state.
That was a bit of a reach from G2 though, because as you can see, BLG, even if they didn't collapse on them on the bot side, they still managed to push in mid and get the control. So G2 definitely are playing well and playing up. You can see with the Red Bull Baron power play about to fade with just about 3k gold that they managed to get off that. But unfortunately, Hans Sama hasn't been the one that's kind of been able to get a lot of that gold. And as you rightly pointed out, still an item behind his opponent. So I want to see now if G2 can buy that time to get the much needed gold into Hans Sama, get things like that Lord Dominic's regard so we can really deal with the front line of BLG.
And G2 have a lot of great tools. It's about how can they actually use the map control they have, right? Both Janna and Moakai are incredible ways to keep your Jinx safe. And as long as you keep track of where Bin and Yagao are at all time and make sure that they don't get on top of your Jinx, you can either play it forward, right? If you hit a scatter, if Broken Blade catches someone, blow them up, get Jinx inside it, and from that point on, BLG shouldn't be able to fight. Or you absorb BLG coming into you, and then on the kite back, as long as Hans is safe and keeps ording, you should be able to win.
It's a tough task though, right? We've seen
BLG
been able to find him multiple times. If there is also one other saving grace, which you've said a couple times this tournament already, playing for Chemtech Soul is not the most impactful. So this is a little bit of a blessing here for G2 Esports. I will say, however, those gigantic blast cones could open up opportunities for Yagao or for Shun to look for those initiations. We're 2 minutes away from Baron, 2 minutes away from Dragon, and it's G2 playing on the front foot. It's G2 applying pressure, and they're looking for their third tower of the game against BLG 6.
I would love an Elder Dragon. That's just another objective that we can 5v5 to the death about. Haven't seen that one in a while. A lot of games haven't actually gotten to that point. A lot of, like, what, 6 Dragon games that then never ends up being a factor. And we see BLG just keeping it slow, trying to play around the sidelines, and I think once the Baron and Dragon come up, that's when we're going to see more aggression and attempts at picks on the map.
Okay, so Dagda, you and I think we've seen G2 in this scenario a few times throughout the course of the year. What do you think the plans are for G2? Because we know BLG are willing to throw down, they're willing to scrap, they're willing to look for those skirmishes. It is still BLG in the lead. They still have more objectives, they still have the ability to get to Elder sooner. So the onus is on G2 to find a mistake or to create an opportunity.
The thing is, though, with the flip that we've seen come through, is G2 who are the ones with the tempo, right? They're the ones that can actually go and match side lanes, push out waves first, and make sure that they're able to kind of keep Bin off the map. And as a result, you can see how much more shallow the warding is for BLG. There's not really much past the back of Red Pit there, and that's really going to hurt BLG, especially as we start to come up towards these 2 big objectives that are starting to arrive. Baron in 30 seconds, Dragon in 50, and as long as you can play this fight front to back as G2, BLG are not going to be in a comfortable position, especially with the amount of peel there is between Mickey and Caps for Hansama.
Crucially, Hans also finally hitting that 3rd item. Yeah, still a little bit behind, but once you hit that threshold, particularly on Jinx, it doesn't really matter. Jinx is really interesting because she's one of the few AD carries that didn't actually benefit that much from the fact that you can go for IE second, right? She really needs the combination of that IE and an attack speed item, and as long as she's attacking anyone on BLG, that isn't shown gonna tear through them like paper.
And of course, the Moonstone Renewal also completed, so just before 2 potential big objective fights, G2 Esports have got the itemization that they need. Alk is only a Zeal ahead of his opposite number. And we've got the showdown, 5v5 in the mid lane. Bin looking for the engage, Caps buys time, goes golden. Nature's Grasp is now disconnected, so has the Monsoon. Bin's running away for his life. Broken Blade's looking to go all out, and with BLG split up, G2 Esports cannot find a target, cannot lock anyone down.
The meanwhile, visual went completely wide. Elk didn't get the damage off, and now it's G2 who have control of Baron.
Oh, they find themselves the stun. Shun will not be able to follow up. Teleport coming back in. Bin started this fight, ran away from it, and is teleporting in for round 3.
A lot of ultimates down on either side. G2, they're starting it up again.
It's Baron! It's Baron! It's an MSI 2023 Baron, but how will it end this time? The Howling Gale buys time, unleash power onto Shun. He's burning, he's below 200, and the Super Mega Death Rocket won't find his target. G2 take a clean Baron, but they're not done yet. The Zap tags Bin. The Soul is still available, which means the fight is 2. Bin needs to leap away to safety, teleporting from Broken Blade. That's 2 of them used in this extended engage. The Dragon has been started in G2. They are pushing BLG back.
London, do you believe G2 are starting to move in towards the Dragon?
Oh, Yagao goes forward, he's caught, he's stunned. This weak got scattered. The Dragon secured, and so is the Soul. But it's Yagao that's taken down. Nature's Grasp splits up BLG, and Shun is being chipped away, hammered away. It's time to get excited as Hansama and G2 come alive.
And for the first time in this game, G2 with a gold lead. And it all starts off with one of the most high-value stopwatches I've seen in a long time coming through from Caps.
That is one of the longer team fights I've had the pleasure of casting, and G2, while they did not get the Soul, they got everything else that matters. G2 are in control for the first time this series, but do not forget the fact that Elder Dragon in 5 minutes is a potential game-winning moment for BLG.
But it's G2 who finally have control. It's G2 that are getting their items onto Hansama, protecting him well, with MikyX having such a good Monsoon in the middle of that fight to keep Hansama safe. And now BLG, they overstepped their mark. They lost control of the map, and it's BLG who are on the back foot.
Want to know the goal difference between Hansama and Elk right now? 600. That is how drastically it has swung between the respective players. And it is G2 Esports with the 3,000 gold lead. You can feel the energy in the arena. The local crowd getting behind the LEC second seed. Now G2 They've had their momentum for a while. Cronicler, they've been leading, and look as how the win expectancy has swapped throughout this game.
And a lot of it comes down to two things. One is Caps, who was the target, denying so much, right, with the stopwatch. And then secondly, the long-term engage from Yike with the ultimate, basically forcing BLG into a fight that they don't really want to take. And to me, the fact that BLG, like, Bin was already sitting in that brush instead of pushing inside, already says that they're going to try and keep matching in 5v5, and I don't think you can against this G2 comp.
But that's a lot of what BLG would try and do when Bin was on things like the Jax. It's just that in times past, they'd have something that could facilitate them, like a Galio, or even something that could help control the pace of a fight like a Veigar. That's not what BLG have here with Yagao on the Ahri, and right now, G2 are just better set up to deal with this BLG squad as they try to jump on them. Top tower falls, mid is next on the menu.
And it's going to be taken down uncontested. This is a 6,000 gold Red Bull Baron power play, which has pushed that lead now to 4K. Two things about the games we have seen thus far. Yike's Moakai and those ultimates have been huge in buying time and buying space, have been crucial in allowing the disengage. But I think as well for Caps on the Syndra, while he hasn't been the dominant force of the team, the Scatter the Weeks have been influential. And he's played the best bait game that I've seen. Both the mid lane engage onto him as well as the river.
Oh.
Now, Yike, will he get out of this one? Scatter the Week comes out. Flame Chomper's down. And that will be an easy kill. What's going to happen? It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
What's with the curse QuickShot?
There is no such thing, Cronicler.
And well, this is what I want to highlight. G2, I think, are in a great position in this game. But a mistake that many teams have made is you need to still respect one catch from Yagao, one time with Bin actually getting on top of Hans. You're in deep trouble.
The charm doesn't find the target. Scatter the Weak! Unleash power! Welcome back, Caps!
There was no ult on Yagao, he'd no way to escape, but BLG, they want to try and trade it. They're going to cross-map this revision on the bottom side, but look at where the wave is. Bin isn't in position.
Cronicler, you said it a second ago. G2 have to respect one pick, how impactful that can be. The exact same is true on the other side. We're 33 minutes in the game. We're 4 items for our bot laners, getting to 3-4 items for the rest of the team. With a minute and a half and 2 missed objectives, I think both BLG and G2 are going to be happy that neither was available. So that means cannot afford those mistakes.
I am starting to get a feeling this might all just come down to like one smite button. We're gonna 5v5 at Elder, and whichever team gets it, it's gonna do it.
I'm gonna take something you told me earlier and remind London that in terms of the 5v5s, you kind of prefer G2's comp.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just turn nameplates out, ignore what's happened, but just in terms of how the 5v5 plays out. So if it comes down to that at Elder, potentially, can G2 pull it off?
Even the fact you have some safety nets here for Hansam as well. Like, he's got that stopwatch in his back pocket that he gets to keep him safe. You got G2 with a decent control over this top side as well as they move in his 5. BLG trying to prevent them from getting that vision for the Baron in 40 seconds.
It's 20 seconds to go before Elk's flash will be available, meaning it will be up for the fight. Every other sum is still available. Keep an eye on those because they will be extremely important. As we're looking at setup, G2 seem to be leaning top quadrant, seem to be prioritizing Baron vision, and there's a teleport in here. Is it G2 starting the fight before the objective? Caps and Yike moving forward. Broken Blade is the target of Shun, and Bin gets the 3rd Q. Yagao tagged, stepping backwards, waiting for the Nature's Cross. Until that's thrown down, I don't believe the fight is happening.
They're trying to see if they can deal with BLG before Elk can really swap over. You can see him desperately trying to get to his red and white. Needs to get rid of the Infernum if he wants to do so. G2, they move over towards the Baron.
Howling Gale will throw up Shun. Prison is unavailable. Mickey already exhausted. Nature's Grasp is down. Bin is looking to hop into the pit. He does so, but the Baron's secured by G2 in an ensuing fight. Shun is going forward. That's a resurrection coming out now for Bin, and the damage onto one sends him packing. Elk has not been able to fire. Elk did not get the red-white, but it's G2 that find themselves the kill. They've got the Baron already, and Broken Blade is holding members of BLG in place.
G2 learned a lesson from the last game. No group up, no ability here for Aphelios to get a big ultimate. BLG, they have position. If you lose both buffs, you're in trouble, and the TP comes through.
Broken Blade went to the bottom lane. G2 Esports are completely grouped up, but it's Yike that's tanking it for now. Shun is locked off from the rest of the crowd. Hansama gets another, gets excited, and gets on the front foot. Elk will take him down, but not before Caps kills Elk. G2 G2 Esports have got the numbers advantage. They got the Baron, and they're turning towards the base.
That should be it.
Mickey dies, so Hansama can leave, and G2, they have the Baron. They can look for the end.
G2 Esports coming back from a gigantic deficit. 30, 40-second death timers. Are you not entertained, London and the Copper Box? As G2 will pull a rabbit out of the hat. Let's not forget that it was the counter-engage. It was punishing BLG, but it's not done yet. Ben needs to be taken down by G2 and is done so. The Baron and Power Canyon Minion helping out. The Nexus turret will fall. The Nexus will be the focus, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. We've got a series on our hands.
It's a team fight meta, and G2 says, all right, we hear you. We'll draft for team fights. And this is the result, 1-1 now. G2 bring it back from what looked like insurmountable deficit.
It looked desperate. It looked like G2 were dejected and not going to be able to find their way back. But that one misstep from Elk, that one tornado from Mickey changed the entire course of this game. And I cannot wait to see the post-game breakdown, because that is going to be the most LPL goal graph I have seen in such a long time.
I am knackered. The emotional journey, as soon as that game ended, I put my head on my hands to take a breath, and Cronicler just taps me on the shoulder and goes, it's going 5, mate. I would love to see 5 games like that, but I will say once again, we are seeing the Game of Thrones season 2023 kind of defining it, whether it's a Baron or mid lane. A lot of these teams with gigantic advantages are making these mistakes. Oh, we're going to our break. All right, when we come back, the Analyst Desk will break down game number 2.